Welcome to the WEInvested Podcast, where we teach you how to save and make more cash. I'm your host, Wesley, and here I have with me
Jacob Rodriguez.
And this is Season 2, Episode 2. But before we get started, I must let you know we do not offer any financial, legal, or tax advice on this show. Let's do it. Season 2, Episode 2. Assets versus liabilities. Let's get into it, man.
Yeah.
Cash quote for the day by Robert Kiyosaki. Assets put money in your pocket whether you work or not.
Yeah, that's good. We're gonna be learning the difference between assets and liabilities today. It's fun stuff for everyone.
Yes, sir. And that's the goal. To have money put into your pocket with whether you work or not.
Yeah, definitely. So maybe we should just get into it. What is an asset?
Okay, let's do it. An asset is a resource with economic value that a person, business, or country owns that provides future benefits.
Yeah.
Very lengthy definition.
That is. So, basically anything that you own or that gives you some kind of benefit, right?
Exactly. Perfect explanation. Couldn't have said it any better myself, man. And assets should generally generate income or principal growth.
Yeah, exactly. And assets can be a number of things from, like the couch we're sitting on right now. We bought it.
For sure.
Or, I didn't buy it. You bought it, man. and it sits here. It doesn't give you any income, not that I know of, but but it still has some value, right? So that's an asset, right?
Right, man. It would be lit if this couch could give you some income, though, right?
It kind of is, right? Hopefully.
Right. We're gonna make this blue couch famous. For sure.
Yeah.
Yes, sir, man. So an example of a income producing asset or principal growth asset or both. A good example for that would be rental properties.
Yeah, that you own.
For sure. So that pretty much means that if you own a property and you rent it out to a tenant for $1,000 a month, that's considered income generating asset.
Yep, exactly. And there's so many different other kinds of assets. I mean, assets can be anything, right? Like they can be some nice painting you got, that you think is gonna gain some value. It could be, like a stock, a part ownership of a company that you think, is gonna give you some income and hopefully get better price later on. So yeah, there's tons of assets out there.
For sure, man. And let me ask you a quick question.
Yeah.
Which do you prefer? An asset that generates income or an asset that grows in principle? So meaning you sell it for more than you buy it.
Yeah, totally. I think usually income assets are known as less risky assets for the most part. So rental property, as long as you have someone in there that you can trust and you screen, that they're probably going to give you some money and what that money is going to be. But for a principal gaining asset, it's a little, for the most part, more risky. So you don't know what the future value of, if you buy, a house in a really bad neighborhood, but you think that it's going, the neighborhood's going to turn or something and it's going to be a really nice place in a few years. That's more risky. So for me, in this part in my life, I can take more risk because I'm young, right? And so I can probably buy things that I think are going to appreciate, so gain more value. And it's a little safer for me to do that because I have a really long time until I need income, which is in retirement. From there, I think most people switch into more income-based assets. So that's when people switch from a stock portfolio, which usually appreciates or gains more value, to maybe bonds, or they buy a rental house and then they just get the income and live off of that. So
For sure, man. So you're saying because of your age, you're going for the principal growth. You want to accumulate wealth.
Yeah.
For sure.
Exactly.
Yes, sir. Love that, man.
Yeah.
So now let's get into the exact opposite.
Yeah.
A liability,
Mm-hmm.
which is defined as a financial debt or obligation.
Yep, exactly. And usually liabilities get a bad rap.
I'm afraid of liability.
Right. But people interact with liabilities on a day-to-day basis. You know, for like your credit card is a liability, right?
Right.
Yeah, like you owe money every time you swipe that card. So technically you owe something. College debt, that's a big liability on most people's balance sheet. I
know neither of us have children.
Yeah.
This might be a sticky situation. But would you consider family or children a liability, Jake?
Oh man, that's a tough one, dude. I would say so. We're getting real theoretical here. So liability, takes away value, or you owe something. I would say kids, they're an expense, man. We're getting into accounting language here. Where, right. They cost you money, but they probably aren't detracting from your value, right? And if anything, if you're really getting into it, like they will have future benefits for when you're old, hopefully. Maybe they might take care of you, like instead of you having to hire someone. So
that's a good save.
It's a tough one, man.
That's a good save, man. Okay, yeah, I definitely can't answer that question.
Yeah, it's tough.
For sure. But yeah, man, so and examples of liabilities would be, like Jay stated, credit card debt, any loans that you have out in your name, property taxes. If you own a home or own any property, that property taxes are a liability.
Yeah.
For sure, man.
Yeah, taxes usually, like you have your taxes due at the end of the year. It's kind of a liability, right?
Right.
All those taxes you owe. So, yeah.
Yeah, man, let's get into the different types of assets we have.
Yeah.
Now, in different ranges and time periods and classes. So,
yeah.
First one we'll get into is the short-term investment.
Mm-hmm.
And that is, I personally define a short-term investment as anything that you're going to hold or use within 12 months.
Yeah, and I think that's actually the literal accounting definition of short-term investment. Yeah.
Right, for sure.
Yeah, so, for me, that's usually like something like I'm trying to save for a house right now.
Oh, nice.
Right, so like I might have a short-term asset that I put that money into. So like something like, this is kind of a little in the weeds, but like something like a money market fund, like, or like an online savings account that has a good, yield to it. Like I'll put my money there, which is technically a short-term investment, compared to if I was saving for retirement. I might put that money into another asset that would be more long-term.
For sure, man. Yeah. And so other examples of short-term investment vehicles include CDs, certificates of deposits.
Yeah.
And you can generally, they generally last anywhere from like 12 to 24 months.
Yeah. Have you ever done one of those before?
No, I've never done a CD before.
Yeah. Should we explain what a CD is for most people? Because I didn't know what it was. I only did it like last year just to kind of understand what it was.
Okay, yeah. Let the people know.
Yeah. So like a CD is a certificate of deposit, and you basically sign a contract that says, I'm going to lock up my money. I'm not going to be able to access it for 6 months, 12 months, a year, 2 years, whatever. And because I'm not going to be able to use that money, I'm going to expect for the bank or whatever institution is holding my money to be able to pay me some more money for being able to use my money for that amount of time. So usually that's expressed in an interest rate. So for like a 12-month CD, you can lock up your money and the bank can use it for 12 months and they'll give you 2% of whatever you gave them to use in that period. So that's what a CD is. And I actually just used it maybe like a year ago because just to kind of see how it worked. So yeah, it's a cool tool for sure.
So it's kind of like you're loaning money to the bank.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's precisely it.
And how did it turn out? How did you?
It wasn't a good idea. The stock market has, since, but it depends on, I'd probably put my money in the stock market if it was longer term, but I think I got like 2.6%, which it wasn't the worst, thing, but I definitely could have put my money somewhere else and I could have made a lot more money.
So would you use a CD again?
Yeah, man, I think you just gotta be strategic about it. If you're really looking for a low risk and you're not gonna use that money, it's not a bad idea, but you might be able to get some more money putting your money somewhere else. So
for sure, man. A few of these savings accounts,
yeah,
that I've tested out and tried out,
yeah,
have it would have benefited me more to just put it in the market too, man. I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, exactly. So, it's tough. It's always, you can't predict those kind of things, so you just do the best you can.
And then the feds keep cutting interest rates.
Yeah, man, so lowering our yield.
Right, man. It's killing my safer investments. But it's cool, better safe than sorry, I guess.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, man. So the next type of investment is a long-term investment.
Yeah.
Which is something I would say is anything longer than a 12-month period.
Yeah, totally.
So a long-term investment can really include anything as long as you hold it for a period longer than 12 months. So from real estate, certain bonds, stocks, anything can be an investment, man. Like you said, paintings, this furniture, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. And for most people, the most familiar long-term investment is like a 401k through their work.
For sure.
Something like that, where they're investing for the long term. They're not really caring if their value of their account fluctuates by 3, 4, 5% in a week or a day or whatever. Like they're in it for the long term.
Exactly, man. And the same thing pretty much when it comes to saving for college.
Yeah.
So if you're in a 529 plan or whatever kind of savings plan you're doing, you're saving for college. That's if you do it correctly, it's like an 18-year saving span.
Yeah. So, yeah, totally.
Yeah, man. There's nothing wrong with a long-term investment.
Yeah, or even a short-term investment, right? It just depends on, what you're looking for, how you're trying to save your money and what your goals, what you're going to use that money and what time period it's for.
So it all comes down to just planning and being strategic about how you invest and where you put your money in, and really understanding what you're putting your money into. Is it long term or is it short term?
Yeah, totally. And I think it sounds like it might be a little intimidating, like trying to figure that out. And I think because there's a lot of decisions that you can make, based on whether you want it long term or short term. But I would say that the basics of it are pretty easy, right? Like long term, you should be putting it in something that would appreciate more. So stocks, real estate, if that's your thing, if you really think you have an eye for that, then that's a good goal. And short term, it's pretty easy where you can, get an online savings account and just get a little bit of money for holding your money there.
For sure, man, for sure. So thank you guys for tuning in with us this week, season 2, episode 2, talking about investments of different types.
Yeah.
Jake, let the people know how they can find you, how they can get in contact with you.
Yeah, man. If you got any questions about assets or liabilities, you can find me at Here's Me Jacob on Instagram. You can DM me, you can comment, you can do whatever. You can tag me in some hateful, post. You'll get my attention. So that's where I'm at.
For sure, man. You can find us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube at WEInvested. Find us online too at our website, WEInvestedOnline.com, so you can learn more about finances and how to invest and how to save and how to grow your money.
Yeah, man.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.